I was looking around in this strange Minecraft world, I knew that there was something weird because originally I didn't think anything of it, but this biome didn't even make sense. It was made out of sand and ice, and not only that, I actually started to hear some strange sounds. I wasn't exactly sure as to what I was hearing. I just knew that there were some strange sounds nearby and I had to get to the bottom of it. So I decided that I would drive, or more so just drive my simply small boat to these strange sounds. Now you're probably wondering, what did these sounds sound like? Well, they sounded like there were some songs being sung by something, and I didn't really understand what was going on, but I understood that they were coming from a village nearby, and eventually I realized that we were near some singing monsters, and of course it didn't make sense, but eventually it would make sense. So I decided to simply dock my boat up near the village because I knew that I was going to have to come onto land at some point, and eventually asked them, hey, what is that noise going on and what did we just hear? So of course he said a strange singing noise has been heard from nearby, and I was thinking, well, what is that singing noise, because I can hear it too. And of course this village maybe could have some kind of problem because we've heard singing monsters before, but what exactly is this new one and what exactly has potentially gone wrong here? I decided to look around, and trust me when I say I was looking around for quite some time until I managed to talk to a villager who completely understood what I was talking about. He said, did you hear that? And honestly, I didn't. He said, who is singing like that? And I was thinking the exact same thing, and I was even getting frustrated because I didn't know who was singing like that, and I wanted to figure out who was singing like that. So I needed to figure out what exactly was going on, and as you can all see right there, it definitely was quite very strange. So he said it might be coming from over there, and he pointed to a strange mountain. So I needed to figure out where this strange mountain was and exactly how I could get there and listen to this strange singing, because honestly guys, it was starting to get loud and it was starting to get very strange. Now I'd never experienced anything like the singing monsters before until I got to this strange world, and trust me when I say it definitely was truly weird. So I decided to look at this strange area, and as I got there, the houses started becoming more and more loud, and I do apologize for these noises, but trust me when I say in the game it was completely worse. So this was the strange area that I'd explored, and it was truly weird because it seemed as if it was some kind of mountain slash molehill slash crazy thing, and I didn't really know exactly what was going on. But as I realized that this was from the singing monsters, I then knew that this had to be where the sounds were coming from and the giant problem that we were facing. He said this is where the noise is most likely coming from, and of course I decided to know that, but pretty much this villager was too scared to look inside. He said, can you look inside for me? And I didn't really have a problem because of course I knew I was going to look inside and see exactly what was going on. So all I had to do was simply open up the vault, and that's when I was presented with a large array of images that I was quite confused of. But the first red one I actually identified as a rare red Robux, and I wasn't honestly sure if that was the creature, but I was pretty sure that it was. There were many other creatures that were also there, such as mammoths and other crazy creatures and other pukes. I wasn't even sure how to pronounce it. There was also a strange phoenix looking creature, which was somewhat like a bird that had feathers on each side and eyes, and there was also a strange white creature that I wasn't really sure of, and many of these creatures contained musical instruments that they were using to play sounds. Now, albeit these were just the pictures, but it was very confusing to me at first because there was also a strange vault down there that was definitely very scary. So I knew that I needed to figure out exactly what was going on by simply going down inside. Now, once I went inside, I was presented with a first creature, and honestly, I didn't really know what this creature was, but this creature was allegedly a mammoth. So apparently mammoths were very cold and very frosty in their habitats, and I wasn't really sure with what this creature was doing, but I did actually hear its song, so I knew that it definitely was some kind of a strange creature. So it was clear that one of the first monsters that I had found was clearly the mammoth monster, and it said mammoths are luxurious cold elementals that are never chilly. They are with ongoing issues and are resistant to blizzard and frosted windows, and they also do not shovel snow. So it was clear that this mammoth, or whoever I was seeing, were really the next generation of singers, because honestly it was really cool. So he also said, would you like to listen to my song? And he said, ooh, Now I think there was some music that was definitely played, and it definitely was kind of interesting if I'm being honest, but it definitely also was very kind of cool. So to see these different crazy creatures was definitely very interesting. And on the second one, it was also even more interesting, because the next mob that I did manage to see was a puke, and I'm not even sure if that is even the right way to say it, because trust me, this is possibly one of the first and maybe the last time I ever saw this creature. But there were wheelbarrows filled with cobblestone, filled with rocks, and the entire area of the interior was definitely made with some kind of interesting kind of tools. And you can all see right here that this was definitely quite the very interesting one. So this creature, the puke, or I'm not even sure how you say it, was very cool. And of course, I decided to look inside the book to see what it was about. And it says, is it a mask? Is it a face? Other parts unknown? Is it bashful? Is it cold? Ghastly to behold? And there were lots of words that I really just didn't understand, but nevertheless, it was their secret base. So I was guessing that whatever I was exploring was definitely something that didn't really make too much sense, but at the same time, I knew that it was really cool. So he did say, hello, my name is, would you like to hear my song? And I was guessing that all of these different creatures had many different various unique and original songs which they wanted to let me hear. And of course, as you can all see, that was exactly what I wanted to see and exactly what I wanted to hear. So I wasn't exactly sure with as to how this was getting done. So I decided to go into this magma area and figure out exactly what was going on. And of course, as you can all tell, it was definitely quite. So it was clear that this one was probably going to be the phoenix creature or the bird creature, and indeed it was. I wasn't really sure what this creature's name was, but I had to ask her. So this creature was actually called a glowl, as you guys can see, and it definitely was quite interesting because this creature was really crazy. It said this glowl would make a seemingly excellent spy, soaring above its competition, and it maintains a bird's eye view of the world, always up to date on what is happening. So definitely was quite interesting to see exactly what has gone on, and I gotta be honest, it definitely was quite interesting to see how on earth this was done. So she asked me would I like to hear her song, and I wanted to know exactly what was going on because I needed to figure out exactly how this creature even sung. Now this one made a very weird noise, and I honestly was just turned away, but there was not enough time to figure out what was going on, because I then had to go onto the next secret area in which I did hear another crazy creature singing their monster song. So this creature right here that you can all see was another crazy creature called a bogart or a bogart that seemed to be made out of dirt and water. So it was clear that this kind of creature was a bit more different than the rest because it was made out of the same materials that were on the wall. So when I opened its lore book, I decided to check what was inside, and it said the bogart loves to stand in puddles. It sucks a muddy mixture of earth and water through its feet to rapid horn growth. When shed, a horn will be strung and tuned, then replace the bogart's old instrument. So it was clear that this creature had some tunes or had some horns into how it kind of made it work. So it definitely was quite interesting as to how it was done, but at the same time I figured out that this was definitely quite the weird. So next was another creature that was called a Barcelona from My Singing Monsters. So this creature was one of the most expressive, and this one was actually like myself, considering the colors that it had were all rainbowified, and it definitely seemed like it was somehow related to me. I wasn't exactly sure with as to what, but it definitely seemed pretty cool. So we opened up the Barcelona's book, and it said music is the language of all monsters, with most expressing themselves instrumentally with vocal effects, and the Barcelona has been gifted with the actual insane ability to sing actual words, making it the de facto voice of the monster world. And the Barcelona loves keeping its multicolored talons well filed and it goes through lip balm like no one's else business. So that was the description of the Barcelona. Not sure if I'm saying that right, but it definitely was very interesting because of course it was quite confusing, and apparently it sung like a real human, which was definitely quite scary. So I didn't really know exactly what was going on, but I knew that this was quite confusing, and I knew that this was definitely quite scary. So of course these creatures were truly entertaining, and this one was even crazier because this was the rarest